let's look at the scores first, right? So in the news, I guess, that came out of this, which it wasn't really news because we've known this, but in case you're unaware, the Pixel 9 Pro XL is going to come with 16 gigabytes of RAM. Currently, the Pixel 8 Pro, their flagship device, has 12 gigs of RAM. They're going to up the RAM to 16 gigabytes. Now, this one's got 16 plus 8. Yeah, it's crazy. 24 gigs. Now, why would Google, and we'll get into the scores, why would Google, this Geekbench that the Pixel 9 Pro XL just ran through, the stat sheet says 16 gigabytes of RAM. I believe they're running 16 gigs of RAM because it is going to be running a ton of AI functions. Artificial intelligence takes a ton of RAM. It needs to hold on to that memory so it can perform its tasks, right? That's why Apple only has the AI capabilities available for the two devices with the very best processor they offer in a phone and the two devices that have the highest amount of RAM. So if you remember, the Apple Intelligence is only available on the iPhone 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max, right? The 15 and 15 Plus are left out. I hear a lot of people, why would they do that? No, that's not fair. They want you to buy a more expensive device. Yes, true, but that's not the full reason. The full reason is the 15 Pro and Pro Max have 8 gigabytes of RAM. The 15 and 15 Plus only have 6 gigabytes of RAM. That extra 2 gigs makes a big difference, especially when running artificial intelligence models on your device. If you tried to run the AI models on the 15 and 15 Plus, probably crash, right? It just wouldn't work, or it get super bogged down. Now, is 16 gigs overkill? Maybe, but look, I'd always rather have way more RAM than way less RAM, right? Trust me, stuff's getting bigger, apps are getting bigger, all this AI stuff's getting more complicated. These models are getting larger, more data. It needs to store that data, what it pulls. I'm talking about the AI functionality. So whatever it does in the background, it needs to pull that data, that information, and set it to the side. And that's what random access memory is for. RAM. Again, we're not talking about the storage, how many gigabytes. I have 128 gigs, 256 gigs. No. That's for files, for photos, for videos. We're talking about random access memory. That's the key memory that your devices really need to perform well under heavy loads, right? So, getting back to these scores, the Pixel 9 Pro XL got a single, now this is Geekbench 6, right? Got a single core score of 1950 and got a multi-core score of 4655. Now, this is with the Tensor G4 CPU. And as you can tell down here, can y'all see that? Can I increase that? No? All right. Anyway, y'all should be able to see it. It's kind of fuzzed out. But we got Android 14, Pixel 9 Pro XL, motherboard Komodo. Let's see. It's on the ARM architecture, obviously. So here it breaks down the different cores, octa-core CPU. But there we go. Very last piece of information. At the very bottom line, it says 15.19 gigabytes. Technically, it's 16 gigs. So that's nice. I'm always good to see that because there was a time where these Pixel devices only had 4 gigabytes of RAM. That was like from the OG Pixel. Which Pixel? Here's a pop quiz. What was the first Pixel to increase the RAM from 4? I think it was the Pixel 6. No. I think it was Pixel 5. jumped up to 8 gigs, 6 or 8 gigs. Anyways, long story short, Google was stuck on 4 gigs of RAM for 4 years or so. Like Apple's been stuck on 6 gigs of RAM forever, and now they're just finally starting to bump the RAM up. So let's see here. What Daniel says, I think there's a lot of confusion on the internet about extra RAM needed for local LLM, especially with iPhone. People are mad they aren't bringing it to iPhone 15 with 6 gigs. Yeah. And you know what? That wasn't explained. Like, it would probably, and I don't know why, like, it would probably serve Apple right. Now, I'm not saying, oh yeah, probably they should. That's not widely explained here or in the tech world or publications or on YouTube or even the average person on the street. They hear that only the pro, and if you go on Reddit, it's funny. There's a bunch of people complaining. I'll go in there for entertainment just to get some laughs. But yeah, the average person just doesn't understand that, right? These new models are using an enormous amount of information and data. And it's imperative to have a ton of RAM. I'm interested to see what Google does with this upcoming quote-unquote AI. Because on Google's side, Samsung Galaxy AI, please, whatever. And you know what's disappointing? Even Pixel, when they launched this 8 series, it seemed like only a handful of functions were ready to roll at launch. And then, this will be out at a later date. We'll announce this at a later time. No, I believe everything needs to be a full go when you launch these things, because then that's how you get mad customers, right? I purchased this phone because you said it can do all this, and now I have to wait 5 months. I get it, time constraints, this and that, but if it's not ready, push it back to the next year, Look, most of this stuff is kind of cool, but is it really AI? I don't know. Now, what Nothing's talking about doing, that's really cool. That's really AI, right? I'm not sure if any of y'all caught that. And we may look into it a little bit tomorrow, but let's see. They keep shouting the processor is more powerful than enough, and refusing to believe RAM is an issue because of some of the services run in the cloud. Yeah. Let me compare these to my S24 Ultra, these scores. Let's see. So history. Jesus Christ. So my last test I ran on my S24 Ultra on Geekbench. The single core score on an S24 Ultra with a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 scored a single core score of 2222. The new upcoming Pixel 9 Pro XL that's not released yet scored 1950. And then the multi-core score on this Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 device was 6787. And this is way behind at 4655. So it's a little bit behind on the single core score. Again, I got 2222. Pixel 9 Pro XL scored 1950. And then multi-core, I got 6787. And look at what the Pixel 9 Pro XL scored. Boy, oh boy. Golly. Look. Again, I wonder, I'm curious if the Pixel 9 has any Geekbench ML scores yet. I don't think so. I mean, I'm sure they have. I just don't think it's available. Let's see. Let's see here. And the standard, what was the standard Pixel 9 Pro, the smaller one? Oh my God, it got an even worse score. Oh no, wait, this is the standard Pixel 9, but it's still going to have the same processor. They're all going to have the same Tensor chip. So the base Pixel 9 scored 1590 single score, 3821. Yikes. Not good. Now, again, I always gonna say this: benchmark's not the end all be all, right? You can't judge a device simply off their Geekbench scores, right? Look, this Pixel 8 Pro with the Tensor G3 got worse scores than what we're looking at, and it is very snappy, very quick, never any issues, right? But I don't play games, right? All my stuff is non-game stuff, and that's where the benchmarks really come into play, is if you're a gamer. But if you're going to buy a sports car, if you're or a car and/or a sports car, what are the numbers you look at, right? A 0 to 60 in the quarter mile. That's basically, that translates to this. So you're not going to be flooring the car from 0 to 60 at every red light when it turns green. At every stop sign, you're not going to floor it and go a quarter mile, see what you can run a quarter mile in. But that's what it's capable of, right? That is what a benchmark is for these CPUs and these devices. It just shows you what it's capable of at max performance. Now, these scores are not flattering at all, and I can already tell they're going to get blasted by people online. Now, I'm not going to blast them because, again, I know it doesn't mean everything. You can score relatively low and still have a fast, snappy, fluid device, right? But the general public, the average Joe Blow, or somebody who thinks they know technology, they're just going to look at this and be like, it sucks. And they're just going to write it off just because of these scores. I mean, there's tons of people out there. I'm going to be interested in seeing, yes, Google, they always say, oh, it's not about benchmarks. It's not about this or that. It's about the overall experience, right? The machine learning, the AI. I get that, and I understand that to a certain point. But I don't even care that Google's not really up there with the Snapdragons of the world, with the Apple Bionic CPUs of the world. Shit, even MediaTek now, right? Like. But when you're this far behind, it doesn't really look good, right? But, I mean, we're just going to have to wait and see. It's just a wait and see type of deal. Now, could the scores get better? Sure. They can still tweak all sorts of stuff in the CPU, with the kernel, with the operating system. But when you see it benchmarked, when you see the scores come out, that means they're trying to tweak it, right? They're running it to see what it can do. So we'll see. So this is not going to be the highest performing device. And remember, didn't Google block the benchmark tests on these devices the first couple weeks they were out? Could be the same thing, right? Up to launch, could kind of see mediocre scores. And then when they're released, it could get a little boost in performance, right? Again, it is a new CPU. But this score is not the one I'm really, really, really interested in. I'm really, really interested in next year's CPU. Again, I'm beating it like a dead horse, right? The next year's CPU is when everything changes. This is their last Exynos-based Tensor branded chip. Next year, it's all Google, 100%. Now, question. What if we're sitting here, same time, same place, and we're on eSIM Studios podcast number 500, right? A year from now. What if the Tensor scores, where they're fully in control, are very mediocre at best. Would that sway your opinion, knowing that? Because I'm not giving them a break on this, or I'm not giving them a mulligan, right? Just because, it's a Samsung, it's an Exynos CPU. You know, they've had their issues in the past, and it's just one of those things. I'm not giving them, like, look, they planned this out very strategically, and everything's on them. Everything's on their shoulders. So I'm not giving them a pass at all. But I'm saying next year, if we're sitting in the same time, same place, just a year from now, where the Pixel 10 series is about to be launched, if they have and the Tensor G5 CPU benchmark scores leak, and we get very these are not average at best scores, mid-range pack. I don't know how I'm gonna feel, right? Maybe I'm expecting too much out of them. Maybe they're going to stay on this path of don't worry about benchmark scores, worry about the experience. If I was Google, if I was in the Pixel department, that's what I would put out as far as the marketing press, or not. I wouldn't advertise it, but that's what I would put out. These publications, these big publications like Android Central, 9 to 5 Google, the editors-in-chief, the editors of these magazines, these big YouTubers, they talk behind the scenes with Google, and I do too, just not like that. Like, they're not going to tell me that sort of stuff. They do ask me questions and all sorts of stuff, but not like that. That's what I would tell my marketing team, my PR team. Hey, let everybody know, let the publications know, let the YouTubers know that yes, performance, is a something we have interest in, but we're ultimately interested in the overall experience, something like that. So take it for what you will. It is what it is. We'll just have to wait and see. Check out the Made by. I've seen that. I don't think I've listened to that though. Season 4, episode 6. They discuss how. Oh yes, that's the one episode I saw that. Was this just released, or has this been out for maybe a month or two? Yeah, I listened to that. That's been out for a month or two. I did listen to that. Yeah, and I get it, right? Like, that's why I'm not blasting them. Like, people online are just, talking a bunch of trash. And again, I get it, but yeah, November. Yeah. Oh shit, so it's been out a while. Okay, yeah, I've listened to that. It's a really good listen. Thank you for that recommendation. I'll link that episode once this is done. So whoever's listening to this later, or even you're listening to it now, come back and check this video's description box maybe a little later today, and I'll post the episode of that. I think everybody needs to listen to that. Yeah, I think everybody does. And I agree. These don't mean everything, but it does. Look, a large majority of people that look at this stuff, because look, there's a large, like my dad, my mom died, but my parents had Pixels, right? They're not looking at benchmark scores. They just want a new Pixel, right? And the people that do have a little interest in the tech and or news are probably just going to look at this headline and say, oh shit, it's, they're going to think negatively about it. But people like us who are kind of nerds about this, like, I understand what they're doing. It's just hard to convince some dope in Reddit comments, trying to type out and explain what Google's doing, when they just automatically write them off. There's a part where they say how most chips use a portion of their chip when processing, for example, a photo, whereas Tensor lights up almost the whole chip to make most out of all the parts. Yeah. And I think what we're going to see, that's why I'm so excited to see what they have in store for us on the Pixel 10. I think that's when the magic really happens for Google. I think that's when the Pixel really takes off. Because look, for this Pixel 9, they have a really nice design language. Like, it looks really, really nice. It looks very nice. But they don't really, again, Pixel 10, as long as they keep the same design language, they have full control. Because remember, they're constricted to what the Exynos, how it's constructed. Google is constricted to how they can get this CPU to perform, because they're at the mercy of Samsung. They didn't design it, right? They added some stuff here and there, and you can modify how it acts and behaves and what it does when in certain instances. But when you build the thing from the ground up, that's when you can really, really make cool things happen, right? And I think that's kind of where we're at. So, look, in my opinion, am I still getting the Pixel 9 series? Hell yeah. But I'm going to be, it's kind of like an off year. And I hate to say that, because I'm still going to be excited about this one because it looks so good. But I'm pushing all my chips in to the middle of the table for the Pixel 10. I think if they can nail the launch of the Pixel 10, and assuming they continue to make relatively, and they don't have any overheating issues, or, as long as they can keep on this pace, I think they're going to be in a good spot moving forward. Because remember, we talked about it last few days. Apple's got big plans in the next 2, 3, 4 years. Huge plans for their devices. Like, it's going to take off even more so than what it already has. But you're going to get that excitement back, right? We were talking about people lining up outside the Apple stores. What was it, like Apple 4? I mean, iPhone 4 or 5. Now people don't line up out, and probably still won't. But I'm just saying, because back then you didn't really order online as much as you do now. But I'm just saying, overall excitement, right? You're going to get that excitement back from Apple users when Apple starts putting out this iPhone 17 Slim, iPhone Flip, right? MacBook foldable, iPad fold. People's heads are going to explode, right? So Samsung coming out with a new design, S25. Their foldables are getting better and better and better. So look, smartphone wars are just getting started. So I'm excited to see. And look, like I said, I'm going to get a Pixel 9. Well, we're getting a multiple Pixel 9s. So I just don't know if I'm going to get the Fold. But we'll figure that out. But anyways, I'm still getting one, and I'm still going to love it. So look, even if this is not really impressive, still going to be a very good user experience, because this is a great experience. I mean, it just is. Again, you wouldn't be able to tell, and we'll end it at this. From using this device, and these are even on this Pixel 8 series, has lesser scores than what we saw here. You wouldn't be able to tell by using it, right? Now, again, I don't play games. Maybe if I played games, I would drop some frame rates and stuff like that, but I do heavy multitasking, business-oriented phone editing, clipping stuff, making videos. So I can't tell. Now, is my Samsung faster at, throwing a video together? Yeah, it is. But it's very fluid, very fast, and nice experience. You're going to go with the Pro this year? Daniel says, I think I'm going to go with the mid-size Pixel this year. Love that they will have 3 models. Man, me too. Me too. That Pixel 8 that I got a few weeks ago, like, it's about time that they ante up their small model and make it a legit one-to-one copy of their larger Pro model, right? Because you can tell, even using the smaller Pixel 8, you can still kind of tell it's not, flagship. It's not top of the line like the Pixel 8 Pro. Very excited to see them put a Pro version in a small form factor. And I think tons of people are going to buy that. I guarantee you tons of people are going to buy it. I think that demand is higher than what they anticipate. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they know it's going to sell, and that's why they're doing it. But lots of people are going to get the small Pro. And it's going to have the same camera. I mean, it's about time. Let's see. So stay tuned to the channel. Now, we have not heard much of the new Fold. There were some early leaks, right, with the pictures, even the in real life photo, right, with the weird camera hump on the back. Haven't seen much of that. Now, look, we're getting close. We're only, 3 months away. Oh, is that right? We're in June, July. 4 months away, but you know what I mean. I was thinking of the iPhone. 4 months away, but now, if you're at Google, now everything's set in stone as far as what the device looks now. They've had this design set in stone for, I'm assuming, at least a year. But as far as all the components in there, they've been testing these devices, obviously Geekbench. But I say that to say this. 4 months away from launch time. Now, you're not going to manufacture them right now, but I think maybe in late July or August, here in about 2 months, you're going to start producing them, manufacturing them, right? So I forgot what I was going to say, but anyways, beautiful device. Oh, the Fold. Yes, the Fold. It should have the same specs as the Pro XL. Now, I think the 9 Pro, the small Pro, that's not going to have 16 gigs. I believe the 16 gig version will be exclusive to the Pro XL and the Fold 2. I think the small one is going to have a base RAM of 12, I believe. I think they'll put the Pixel 9 Pro, 12 gigs of RAM, and then the Pro XL and Fold 2 will have the 16 gigs of RAM. I think that's what they're doing. So